Good evening. Welcome to Lumina Theatre Group's performance reading of The School for Scandal by Richard Brinsley Sheridan, adapted by John O'Connor. We're glad you could join us this evening, the fourth play reading in our four-play fall series. Play will last an hour and 30 minutes with one 5-minute intermission. Now sit back, relax, have a beverage and snacks ready, and enjoy The School for Scandal.
You people born into a world of social media might find it hard to believe that there was a time when the only way of spreading scandal was word of mouth. This is such a time, and this is word of mouth. Wounded herself in the early part of her life by the envenomed tongue of slander, she has since known no pleasure equal to the reducing of others to the level of her own injured reputation. Beautifully written, though I say so myself.
Who are you talking to, Sheridan?
Future audiences, Fanshawe. This is Fanshawe, my literary manager.
No, the only future audience you need to concern yourself with, Sheridan,
Call me Brinsley.
is the audience for next week's opening at Drury Lane.
And that is why we are rehearsing, Fanshawe. The play starts, as you know, with a scene between Lady Sneerwell and her friend, Snake.
The paragraphs, you say, Snake, were all inserted?
They were, madam, and as I copied them myself in a feigned hand, there can be no suspicion whence they came.
Did you circulate the report of Lady Brittle's intrigue with Captain Bostall?
I did. It should reach Mrs. Clackett's ear within 24 hours, and then you know the business is as good as done.
Why, truly, Mrs. Clackett is a very pretty talent and has been tolerably successful in her way. To my knowledge, she has been the cause of breaking off 6 engagements, of 3 sons being disinherited, and 4 daughters being turned out of doors.
She certainly has talents, but she lacks that mellowness of sneer which distinguished your ladyship's scandal.
Oh, you are biased, Snake.
Not in the least. But my dear Lady Sneerwell, there is one affair that you have lately employed me, wherein I confess I'm at a loss to guess your motives.
I conceive you mean with respect to my neighbour, Sir Peter Teazle, and his family.
Entirely so.
No, I don't like this, Brinsley.
What's not to like?
Too much information. As your literary manager, I have to advise you that the audience will never take it in.
It's perfectly simple, Fanshawe. Old Sir Peter Teazle has just married a young wife, a country girl, now Lady Teazle. Sir Peter is guardian to 2 young brothers, the popular and upright Joseph Surface, and the spendthrift Charles, who is loved by Sir Peter's ward, Maria.
But what's her lady's interest in the upright Joseph? And why her eagerness to break up Charles's attachment to Maria?
Perhaps we might allow her to explain it herself, Fanshawe?
Yes, allow me to unravel this mystery. First, I must inform you that love has no share whatever in the relationship between Mr. Joseph Surface and me.
No.
No, his real attachment is to Maria, or her fortune, but in finding her in his brother a favoured rival, he has been obliged to profit by my assistance.
Yet still I am more puzzled why you should interest yourself in his success.
Heavens, how dull you are! Cannot you surmise the weakness which I hitherto, through shame, have concealed even from you? Must I confess that Charles, that libertine, that extravagant, that bankrupt in fortune and reputation, that it is he for whom I am thus anxious and malicious, and to gain whom I would sacrifice everything?
Now, indeed, your conduct appears consistent, and I no longer wonder at your enmity to Maria. But how came you and Joseph Surface so confidential?
For our mutual interest. But I have found him out a long time since. Although he has contrived to deceive everybody besides, I know him to be artful, selfish, and malicious, while with Sir Peter, and indeed with all his acquaintance, he passes for a youthful miracle of prudence, good sense, and benevolence.
Yes, I know. Sir Peter vows that Joseph has not his equal in England, and above all, he praises him as a man of sentiment.
Man of sentiment. Brinsley, what's a man of sentiment?
Oh, you know, someone who's forever spouting moral utterances.
You mean like honesty is the best policy?
Exactly.
Or people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones?
You got it.
Or an apple a day keeps the
Mind if we carry
doctor
on?
away?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
As I was saying, Sir Peter praises Joseph as a man of sentiment.
True, while poor Charles has no friend in the house, though I fear he has a powerful one in Maria's heart, against whom we must direct our schemes. Ah, my dear Joseph, do your brother's distresses increase?
His dissipation and extravagance exceeds anything I have ever heard of.
Poor Charles.
True, madam, poor Charles. I am sure I wish it was in my power to be of any service to him, for the man who does not share in the distresses of a brother, even though merited by his own misconduct, deserves...
Oh, God, you are going to be moral and forget that you are among friends.
Egad, that's true. I'll keep that sentiment till I see Sir Peter.
Maria, my dear, how do you do? Mwah, mwah. What is the matter?
Oh, here's that disagreeable admirer of mine, Sir Benjamin Backbite. He's just called at my guardians with his odious Uncle Crabtree, so I slipped out and ran hither to avoid them.
If my brother Charles had been at the party, madam, perhaps you would not have been so much alarmed.
Nay, now you are severe, for I dare swear the truth of the matter is Maria heard that you were here. But my dear, what has Sir Benjamin done that you should avoid him so?
Oh, he has done nothing, but his conversation is a perpetual libel on all his acquaintance.
Aye, and he'll abuse a stranger as soon as his best friend.
Nay, but we should make allowance. Sir Benjamin is a wit and a poet.
Well, I'll not debate how far scandal may be allowed, but in a man I am sure it is always contemptible.
Madam, Mrs. Candar is below.
Beg her to walk in. Now, Maria, here is a character of your taste. For though Mrs. Candar is a little talkative, everybody allows her to be the best-natured and best sort of woman.
Yes, with a very gross affectation of good nature and benevolence, she does more mischief than indirect malice of old Crabtree.
Faith, 'tis very true, Lady Sneerwell. Whenever I hear the current running against the characters of my friends, I never think them in such danger as when Candor undertakes their defence.
Hush, here she is.
My dear Lady Sneerwell, how have you been this century? I have never seen you, though I have heard of you often. Mr. Surface, the world says scandalous things of you, but indeed it is no matter what the world says, for I think one hears nothing else but scandal.
Just so, indeed, ma'am.
Maria, child, what is the whole affair off between you and Charles? His extravagance, I presume. The town talks of nothing else.
I'm very sorry, ma'am. The town has so little to do.
Oh, true, child, but there's no stopping people's tongues. I own I was hurt to hear it, as indeed I was to learn from the same quarter that your guardians, Sir Peter and Lady Teazle, have not agreed lately so well as could be wished.
'Tis strangely impertinent for people to busy themselves so.
Oh, very true, child, but what's to be done? People will talk. There's no preventing it. Why, it was but yesterday I was told that Miss Gadabout had eloped with Sir Filigree Flett.
Such reports are highly scandalous.
So they are, child, shameful. But Lord, do you think I would report these things? No, tale-bearers are just as bad as the tale-makers.
Ah, Mrs. Candor, if everybody had your forbearance and good nature.
I confess, Mr. Surface, I cannot bear to hear people traduced behind their backs. By the by, I hope 'tis not true that your brother is absolutely ruined.
Mr. Crabtree and Sir Benjamin Backbite.
So, Maria, you see your admirer pursues you. Positively, you shan't escape.
Lady Sneerwell, I kiss your hand. Mrs. Candor, I don't believe you're acquainted with my nephew, Sir Benjamin Backbite. Egad, ma'am, he has a pretty wit and is a pretty poet too, isn't he, Lady Sneerwell?
Fie, uncle.
Egad, it's true. Has your ladyship heard the epigram he wrote last week on Lady Frizzle's feather-catching fire? Do, Benjamin, repeat it.
Dear uncle, now prithee.
But ladies, have you heard the news?
What, sir? Do you mean the report of...
No, ma'am, that's not it. Miss Nicely is going to be married to her own footman.
Impossible!
Yes, and I heard there were pressing reasons for it.
Oh, well, but this may all be a mistake. You know, Sir Benjamin, very trifling circumstances often give rise to the most injurious tales.
Oh, Lord, Mr. Surface, pray is it true that your uncle Sir Oliver is coming home?
Not that I know of, indeed, sir.
He has been in the East Indies a long time. You can scarcely remember him, I believe. Sad comfort on his arrival to hear how your brother has gone on.
Charles has been imprudent, sir, to be sure, but I hope no busy people have already prejudiced Sir Oliver against him. He may reform.
Their malice is intolerable. Lady Sneerwell, I must wish you a good morning. I am not very well.
Oh, dear, she changed colour very much.
Mrs. Cantor, follow her. She may want assistance.
That I will with all my soul, ma'am. Poor dear girl. Who knows what her situation may be?
'Twas nothing but that she could not bear to hear Charles reflected on.
The young lady's penchant is obvious.
But Benjamin, follow her and put her into good humor. Repeat her some of your verses. Come, I'll assist you.
Mr. Surface, I did not mean to hurt you, but depend on it, your brother is utterly undone.
Oh, Lord, I undone as ever a man was. Can't raise a guinea.
And everything sold, I'm told, that was movable.
I was at his house. Not a thing left but some empty bottles that were overlooked, and the family pictures.
And I'm very sorry to hear also some bad stories against him.
Oh, he has done many mean things. That's certain.
But however, as he is your brother...
We'll tell you it all another time.
It is very hard for them to leave a subject they have not quite run down. In the meantime, I'll go and plot mischief, and you shall study sentiments.
When an old bachelor takes a young wife, what is he to expect? 'Tis now 6 months since Lady Teazle made me the happiest of men, and I have been the most miserable dog ever since that ever committed wedlock. We tiffed a little going to church and came to a quarrel before the bells had done ringing. Yet I chose with caution a girl bred wholly in the country, who never knew luxury beyond one silk gown. Yet she now plays her part in all the extravagant fopperies of the fashion and the town. Yet the worst of it is, I love her, or I should never bear all this. However, I'll never be weak enough to own it.
Who's this?
Rowley. He used to be steward to Joseph's and Charles's father when he was alive.
Supposed to know that?
All right, I'll write a line in explaining it. We don't want the audience to get muddled.
Just saying.
Carry on, gentlemen.
Ah, Sir Peter, your servant. How is it with you?
Very bad, Master Rowley, very bad. I mean, there's nothing but crosses and vexations.
What can have happened to you since yesterday?
A good question to a married man.
Nay, I am sure your lady, Sir Peter, can't be the cause of your uneasiness.
Why? Has anybody told you she was dead?
Come, come, Sir Peter, you love her. Notwithstanding, your tempers do not exactly agree.
But the fault is entirely hers, Master Rowley. I am myself the sweetest tempered man alive, and hate her teasing temper. And so I tell her 100 times a day.
Indeed.
Aye. And what is very extraordinary in all our disputes, she is always in the wrong. But Lady Sneerwell and the set she meets at her house encourage the perverseness of her disposition. Then to complete my vexations, Maria, my ward, whom I ought to have the power of a father over, is determined to turn rebel too, and absolutely refuses the man whom I have long resolved on for her husband, Joseph Surface, meaning, I suppose, to bestow herself on his profligate brother Charles.
You know, Sir Peter, I have always taken the liberty to differ with you on the subject of these two gentlemen. I only wish you may not be deceived in your opinion of the elder. For Charles, my life on it, he will retrieve his errors yet. Their worthy father, once my honoured master, was at his years nearly as wild as Spark.
You are wrong, Master Rowley. On their father's death, you know I acted as a kind of guardian to them both. Till their uncle Sir Oliver's Eastern bounty gave them an early independence. No person could have had more opportunities of judging of their hearts, and I was never mistaken in my life. Joseph is indeed a model for the young men of the age. He is a man of sentiment, a moralist, and he acts up to the sentiments he professes. But for the other, my old friend Sir Oliver will be deeply mortified when he finds how Charles behaves and how part of his bounty has been misapplied.
Well, I am sorry to find you so violent against young Charles, because this may be the most critical period of his fortune. I came hither with news that will surprise you. Sir Oliver is arrived and at this moment in town.
Wow, you astonish me. I thought you did not expect him this month.
I did not, but his passage has been remarkably quick.
Egad, I shall rejoice to see my old friend. It is 16 years since we met. We have had many a day together. But does he still enjoin us not to inform his nephews of his arrival?
Most strictly. He means, before he makes it known, to make some trial of their dispositions, and we have already planned something for the purpose.
Ah, there needs no art to discover their merits. However, he shall have his way. But pray, does he know I am married?
Yes, and will soon wish you joy.
Ah, Oliver will laugh at me. We used to rail at matrimony together. But, Master Rowley, don't drop a word that Lady Teazle and I ever disagree.
By no means.
For I should never be able to stand Noll's jokes. So I'd have him think that we are a very happy couple.
I understand you, but then you must be very careful not to differ while he's in the house with you.
Egad, that's impossible. Ah, Master Rowley, when an old bachelor marries a young wife, he deserves... No, the crime carries the punishment along with it.
Good day.
Who's this?
Sir Oliver Surface.
Who?
You just heard about him. Joseph's and Charles' uncle returning from the Far East. Keep up, Fanshawe, keep up.
Lady Teazle, I'll not bear it.
Sir Peter, you may scold or smile according to your humour, but I ought to have my own way in everything, and what's more, I will too. What though I was brought up in the country, I know very well that women of fashion in London are accountable to nobody after they are married.
Very well, ma'am, very well. So a husband is to have no influence, no authority?
Authority! No, to be sure. If you wanted authority over me, you should have adopted me and not married me.
Well, Lady Teazle, though my life may be made unhappy by your temper, I'll not be ruined by your extravagance.
My extravagance? I'm sure I'm not more extravagant than a woman of fashion ought to be.
It's life! To spend as much to furnish your dressing room with flowers in winter as would suffice to turn the Pantheon into a greenhouse?
Lord Sir Peter, am I to blame because flowers are dear in cold weather? You should find fault in the climate and not with me. For my part, I'm sure I wish it was spring all year round.
Oons, madam. If you had been born to those fopperies, I shouldn't wonder at your talking thus. But you forget what your situation was when I married you.
No, I don't. It was a very disagreeable one, or I should never have married you.
Oh, yes, madam. You're in then somewhat humbler style, the daughter of a plain country squire. I have made you woman of fashion, of fortune, of rank. In short, I have made you my wife.
And there is but one thing more you can make to add to your obligation.
What's that, pray?
Your widow. But now, Sir Peter, if we have finished our daily jangle, I presume I may go to the engagement at Lady Sneerwell's.
Aye, there's another precious circumstance. A charming set of acquaintance you have made there.
Nay, Sir Peter, they are people of rank and fortune, and remarkably tenacious of reputation.
Yes, egad, they are tenacious of reputation with a vengeance, for they don't choose anybody should have a character but themselves. Such a crew.
But Sir Peter, you know you promised to come to Lady Sneerwell's too.
Well, I'll call in too, just to look after my own character.
Then indeed you must make haste after me, or you'll be too late. So goodbye to ye.
Yet, with what a charming air she contradicts everything I say. How pleasingly she shows a contempt for my authority. Well, though I can't make her love me, there's certainly a great satisfaction in quarreling with her. And I think she never appears to such advantage as when she is doing everything in her power to plague me.
Lady Teazle, I hope we shall see Sir Peter.
I believe he'll wait on your ladyship presently.
Maria, my love, you look grave. Come, sit down with Mr. Surface.
I am surprised Mr. Surface should sit down with her. I thought he would have embraced this opportunity to speak to me before Sir Peter came.
Now I'll die, but you are so scandalous, I'll forswear your society.
What's the matter, Mrs. Candour?
They'll not allow our friend Miss Vermilion to be handsome.
Oh, surely she is a pretty woman.
Oh, I'm very glad you think so, ma'am.
She has a charming, fresh colour.
Yes, when it is fresh put on.
Oh, fie, I swear her colour is natural. I have seen it come and go.
I dare swear you have, ma'am. It goes off at night and comes back on again in the morning.
How I hate to hear you talk so. But surely now her sister is, or was, very handsome.
Ooh, Mrs. Stucco? Oh, Lord, she's 6 and 50 if she's an hour.
No, you positively wrong her. 52 or 53 is the utmost, and I don't think she looks more.
There's no judging by her looks unless one was to see her face.
Well, if she does take some pains to repair the ravages of time, you must allow she effects it with great ingenuity.
No, it isn't that she paints so ill, but when she has finished her face, she joins it on so badly to her neck that she looks like a mended statue. The head's modern, but the trunk's antique.
Well said, nephew.
Well, you make me laugh, but I vow I hate you for it. What do you think of Miss Simper?
Why, she has very pretty teeth.
Yes, and on that account, when she is neither speaking nor laughing, which very seldom happens, she never absolutely shuts her mouth, but always leaves it ajar, as it were.
Very well, Lady Teazle. I see you can be a little severe.
In defence of a friend, it is but justice. But here comes Sir Peter to spoil our pleasantry.
Ladies, your obedience. Oh, mercy on me. Here's the whole set. A character's dead at every word.
I am rejoiced you are come, Sir Peter. They have been so censorious, and Lady Teazle is as bad as anyone.
That must be very distressing to you, Mrs. Candour, I dare swear.
Oh, they will allow good qualities to nobody.
Come, ladies, shall we sit down to cards in the next room?
Sir Peter, a visitor has called for you.
I'll be with him directly. I'll get away unperceived.
Sir Peter, you're not leaving us.
Oh, your ladyship must excuse me. I'm called away by a particular business, but I leave my character behind me.
Well, certainly, Lady Teazle, that lord of yours is a strange being. I could tell some stories of him would make you laugh heartily if he weren't your husband.
Oh, pray don't mind that. Come, do, let's hear him.
Maria, I see you have no satisfaction in this society.
How is it possible I should? If to raise malicious smiles at the infirmities or misfortunes of those who have never injured us, or be the providence of wit or humour, heaven grant me a double portion of dullness.
Yet they appear more ill-natured than they are. They have no malice at heart.
Then is their conduct still more contemptible?
But can you, Maria, feel thus for others and be unkind to me alone? Nay, is hope to be denied the tenderest passion?
Why will you distress me by renewing the subject?
Maria, You would not treat me thus and oppose your guardian Sir Peter's wishes, but that I see my profligate brother is still a favoured rival.
Ungenerously urged. But whatever my sentiments of that unfortunate young man are, be assured I shall not feel more bound to him. But because I have distress, I've sunk him so low as to deprive him of the regard of even his brother.
Nay, but Maria, do not leave me with a frown, by all that's honest. I swear, gad's my life, here's Lady Teazle. You must not, no, you shall not. For though I have the greatest regard for Lady Teazle...
Lady Teazle?
Child, you're wanted in the next room. What's all this, pray? Do you take her from me?
Oh, the most unlucky circumstance in nature. Maria has somehow suspected the tender concern I have for your happiness and threatened to acquaint Sir Peter with her suspicions. And I was just endeavouring to reason with her when you came.
Indeed, but you seem to adopt a very tender mode of reasoning. Do you usually argue on your knees?
Oh, she's a child. I thought a little bombast. But, Lady Teazle, when are you going to give me your judgment on my library, as you promised?
Oh, you are an insinuating wretch. But we shall be missed. Let us join the company.
True, but we had best not return together.
Well, don't stay, for Maria shan't come to hear any more of your reasoning. I promise you.
A curious dilemma, truly, my politics have run me into. I wanted at first only to ingratiate myself with Lady Teazle, that she might not be my enemy with Maria, and I have, I don't know how, become her supposed admirer, so that I stand a chance of committing a crime I never meditated, and probably of losing Maria by the pursuit. Sincerely, I wish I had never made such a point of gaining so very good a character, for it has led me into so many cursed rogueries that I doubt I shall be exposed at last.
And so, my old friend is married, eh? A young wife out of the country.
But you must not rally him on the subject, Sir Oliver. 'Tis a tender point, I assure you, though he has been married only 7 months.
Oh, Peter. But you say he has entirely given up Charles. Never sees him, eh?
His prejudice against him is astonishing. Though through a scandalous society you have contributed not a little to Charles' ill name.
I know there are a set of malicious gossips, both male and female, who murder characters to kill time. But I am not to be prejudiced against my nephew, Charles, by such. I promise you.
I bet my life on it. You will reclaim him. Ah, sir, it gives me new vigor to find that your heart is not turned against him, and that the son of my good old master has one friend left.
Egad, Master Rowley, my brother and I were neither of us very prudent youths, and yet I believe you have not seen many better men than your old master was.
'Tis this reflection gives me assurance that Charles may yet be a credit to his family. Ah, but here comes Sir Peter.
Sir Oliver, my old friend. Oh, welcome to England 1,000 times.
Thank you, Sir Peter, and in faith, I am as glad to find you well, believe me.
It's a long time since we met. 16 years, Sir Oliver.
Aye, but I find you are married. Hey, my old boy, well, it can't be helped. So I wish you joy with all my heart.
Thank you. Thanks, Sir Oliver. Yes, I have entered into the happy state, but we will not talk of it now.
No. Sir Peter, old friends shouldn't begin on grievances at first meeting. No.
Take care, Sir Peter, pray.
Well, so one of my nephews, I find, is a wild rogue, eh?
Wild? Oh, he's a lost young man indeed. However, his brother Joseph will make you amends. Everybody in the world speaks well of him.
I'm sorry to hear it. He has too good a character to be an honest fellow.
Well, you'll be convinced when you know him. 'Tis edification to hear him converse. He professes the noblest sentiments.
Oh, a plague on his sentiments. If he salutes me with a scrap sentence of morality in his mouth, I shall be sick directly. But, Sir Peter, before I form my judgment on either of them, I intend to make a trial of their hearts, and my friend Rowley and I have planned something for the purpose.
And Sir Peter shall own he has been for once mistaken.
My life on Joseph's honour.
Oh, well, come give us a bottle of good wine and we'll drink the lad's health and tell you our scheme.
Well, sir, one Mr. Stanley is nearly related to them by their mother and has been ruined by a series of undeserved misfortunes. He has applied for help by letter both to Joseph and Charles. From the former, he has received nothing but evasive promises of future service, while Charles has done all that his extravagance has left him power to do, and he is at this time endeavoring to raise a sum of money, part of which, in the midst of his own distresses, I know he intends for the service of poor Stanley.
Ah, he is my brother's son.
Well, but how is Sir Oliver personally to...
Why, sir, I will inform Charles and his brother that Stanley has obtained permission to apply in person to his friends, and as they neither of them have ever seen him, let Sir Oliver assume his character, and he will have a fair opportunity of judging at least of the benevolence of their dispositions.
Well, make your trial, if you please. But who is the fellow whom you brought for Sir Oliver to examine relative to Charles's affairs?
He is a Mr. Premium, who Charles' banker was to send to the young man, and who may advance him some money.
Egad, Sir Oliver, a thought strikes me. Charles, you say, doesn't know Mr. Premium?
Not at all.
Now then, Sir Oliver, you may have a better opportunity of satisfying yourself than by an old romancing tale of a poor relation. Represent Mr. Premium yourself, and then I'll answer for it. You'll see your nephew in all his glory.
Egad, I like this idea better than the other, and I may visit Joseph afterwards as old Stanley.
True, so you may. I should be glad to be convinced that my suspicions of Lady Teazle and Charles were unjust. I have never yet opened my mind on this subject to my friend Joseph. I am determined. I will do it. He will give me his opinion sincerely. But here comes my helpmate. How happy I should be if I could tease her into loving me, though but a little.
Sir Peter, I want you to be in a charming, sweet temper at this moment. Do be good-humoured now. And let me have £200, will you?
£200? You shall have it, but seal me a bond for the repayment.
Oh, no! There, my note of hand will do as well.
Well then, let our future contest be who shall be the most obliging.
I assure you, Sir Peter, good nature becomes you. You look now as you did before we were married, when you used to walk with me under the elms and tell me stories of what a gallant you were in your youth, and ask me if I thought I could love an old fellow who would deny me nothing. Didn't you?
Yes, and you were as kind and attentive.
Aye, so I was, and would always take your part when my acquaintance used to abuse you and turn you into ridicule.
Indeed.
Aye, and when my cousin Sophie called you a stiff, peevish old bachelor and laughed at me for thinking of marrying one who might be my father, I always defended you and said I didn't think you so ugly by any means and that you'd make a very good sort of husband.
And you prophesied right. Well, we shall certainly now be the happiest couple.
And never differ again.
No, never. No, indeed, my dear Lady Teazle. In our little quarrels, my dear, if you recollect, my love, you always began first.
I beg your pardon, my dear Sir Peter. Indeed, you always gave the provocation.
Now see, my love, take care. Contradicting isn't the way to keep friends.
Then don't you begin it, my love.
There now, don't you perceive, my life, that you are just doing the very thing, my love, which you know always makes me angry.
Nay, if you will be angry without any reason, my dear...
There now, you want to quarrel again.
No, I'm sure I don't, but if you will be so peevish.
There now, who begins first?
You, to be sure. I said nothing, but there's no bearing to your temper.
No, my dear, the fault's in your temper.
Aye, you are just what my cousin Sophie said you would be.
Your cousin Sophie is a forward, impertinent gypsy.
How dare you abuse my relations?
Now may all the plagues of marriage be doubled on me, if I ever try to be friends with you anymore.
So much the better.
No, madam. 'Tis evident you never cared a pin for me. I was a madman to marry you.
And I'm sure I was a fool to marry you, an old dangling bachelor who was single at 50 because he could never meet with anybody who would have him.
Aye, aye, madam. But you are pleased enough to listen to me. You had never had such an offer before.
No? Didn't I refuse Sir Jeremy Terrier, who everybody said would have been a better match, for his estate is just as good as yours, and he has broke his neck and died since we have been married.
I have done with you, madam. You are an unfeeling, ungrateful, but there's an end of everything. I believe you capable of anything that's bad. Yes, madam. I now believe the reports relative to you and Charles, madam. Yes, madam. You and Charles are not without grounds.
Take care, Sir Peter. You had better not insinuate any such thing. I'll not be suspected without cause, I promise you.
Very well, madam. Very well. A separate maintenance, as soon as you please. Yes, madam. Or a divorce.
Agreed. Agreed. And now, my dear sweet Peter, we may be the happiest couple and never differ again, you know? Well, you are going to be in a passion, I see, and I shall only interrupt you, so bye-bye.
Plagues and tortures. She pretends to keep her temper. Oh, can't I make her angry neither? Oh, I am the most miserable fellow.
Walk in, pray, Mr. Premium. You and I are but strangers yet, but I hope we shall be better acquainted by and by.
Yes, I hope we shall, sir. More intimately, perhaps, than you will wish.
Ah, Mr. Premium, the plain state of the matter is this. I am an extravagant young fellow who wants to borrow money. You, I take to be a prudent old fellow who have got money to lend. And I am blockhead enough to give you 50% sooner than not have it. And you, I presume, are rogue enough to take 100 if you can get it. Now, sir, you see, we are better acquainted at once and may proceed to business without further ceremony.
Exceeding frank, upon my word. I see, sir, you are not a man of many compliments.
Oh, no, sir. Plain dealing in business, I always think best.
No, sir, I like you the better for it. But what security could you give? You have no land, I suppose.
Not a molehill nor a twig, no. But pray, Mr. Premium, are you acquainted at all with any of my connections?
Oh, why, to say the truth, I am.
Well, then you must know I have a devilish rich uncle in the East Indies, Sir Oliver Surface, for whom I have the greatest expectations.
No. Then you have a wealthy uncle, I have heard. But how your expectations will turn out is more, I believe, than you can tell.
Oh, no, there can be no doubt. They tell me I'm a prodigious favourite and that he talks of leaving me everything.
Indeed, well, this is the first I've heard of it.
Now, I propose, Mr. Premium, if it is agreeable to you, a bond repayable upon Sir Oliver's death. Though at the same time, you know, the old fellow being so liberal to me, and that I give you my word, I should be very sorry to hear anything has happened to him.
Oh, no more than I should, I assure you. But the bond you mentioned happens to be just the worst security you could offer to me, for I might live for 100 and never see the principal.
Oh, no, yes, you would. The moment Sir Oliver dies, you know, you come to me for the money.
Well, but I have heard he is as hale and hearty as any man of his years in Christendom.
No, there again, you are misinformed. No. The climate has hurt him considerably, I'm told, and he is so much altered lately that his nearest relations would not know him. You're glad to hear that, little Premium.
But, sir, as I understand, you want a few hundreds immediately. Is there nothing you could dispose of?
No. How do you mean?
Well, for instance, now, I have heard that your father left behind him a great quantity of massy old silver plate.
Oh, Lord, no, that's gone long ago.
Good lack. All the family race cups and corporation bowls. Then it was supposed that his library was one of the most valuable and compact.
Ah, yes, so it was.
Pray, what has become of the books?
You must inquire with the auctioneer, Master Premium.
So, nothing of the family property left, I suppose.
No, not much indeed. Unless, you have a mind to the family pictures. I've got a room full of our ancestors, as you can see. And if you have a taste for old paintings, egad, we shall have them a bargain.
Hey, what the devil? Sure, you wouldn't sell your forefathers, would you?
every man of them to the best bidder.
What? Your great uncles and aunts.
Aye, and my great-grandfathers and grandmothers too.
Now I give him up. Well, as be the purchaser, I think I can dispose of the family canvas. Oh, I'll never forgive him this. Never.
Ah, here they are, the family surfaces.
And in my opinion, goodly collection.
The merit of these is their inveterate likeness, all stiff and awkward as the originals, and nothing in human nature besides.
We shall never see such figures of men again.
I hope not. Well, you see, Master Premium, what a domestic character I am. Here I sit of an evening surrounded by my family. Well, see, there's my great-uncle, Sir Richard Ravelin, a marvellous good general in his day, I assure you. What say you, Mr. Premium? Look at him. There's a hero. What do you bid? You shall have him for £10.
Heaven deliver me his famous Uncle Richard for £10. Yes, very well.
Here now, this right here is my great Aunt Deborah, done by Nella in his best manner. There she is, you see, a shepherdess feeding her flock. You shall have her £5. The sheep are worth the money.
Poor Deborah, a woman who set such a value on herself. £5, she's mine.
Knock down my Aunt Deborah. Oh, this now is my grandfather of my mother's, a learned judge, well known on the Western Circuit. What do you rate him at, Premium?
4 guineas.
4 guineas? Gad's life, you don't bid me the price of his wig. Mr. Premium, have more respect. Do let us knock his lordship down at 15.
Oh, by all means.
On! Here's a jolly fellow. I don't know what relation, but he was the mayor of Norwich. So take him at £8?
No. 6 will do for the mayor.
No, come, make it guineas. And I'll throw in the 2 aldermen here into the bargain.
They're mine.
Knock down the mayor and the aldermen. But, plague on it, we shall be all day retailing in this manner. Do let us deal wholesale. What say you, little Premium? Give me £300 for the rest of the family in the lump.
Well, anything to accommodate you. They are mine. But there is one portrait which you have always passed over.
What, that ill-looking little fellow over on the city?
Yes, I mean that. I don't think him so ill-looking, little fellow by any means.
Oh, well, that is my Uncle Oliver. It was done before he went to India.
Upon my soul, sir, I think it is as honest a looking face as any in the room, dead or alive. But I suppose Sir Uncle Oliver goes with the rest of the lumber.
No, hang it. I'll not part with poor Noel. The old fellow has been very good to me, and egad, I'll keep his picture while I've a room to put him in.
The rogue's my nephew after all. But sir, I have somewhat taken a fancy to that picture.
I'm sorry for it, for you certainly will not have it. Oons, I mean, haven't you got enough of them?
I forgive him everything. But sir, when I take a whim in my head, I don't value money. I'll give you as much for that as for all the rest.
I tell you, I'll not part with it. And that's the end of it.
How like his father the dog is. I did not perceive it before, but I think I never saw such a striking resemblance. Here is a draft for your son. And give me your hand on the bargain. You are an honest fellow, Charles. I beg pardon, sir, for being so free.
So, this was an odd fellow indeed. For heaven, I find one's ancestors are more valuable relations than I thought them for. Ha! Old Rowley! Egad, you've just come in time to take leave of your old acquaintance, the family portraits.
Yes, I heard they were a-going, but I wonder you can have such spirits under so many distresses.
Why, there's the point. My distresses are so many, I can't afford to part with my spirits. Here, my honest Rowley, here. Get me this change directly and take £100 of it immediately to old Stanley.
£100? Consider only.
Dad's life, don't talk about it. Poor Stanley's wants are pressing, and if you don't make haste, we'll have somebody call who has a better right to the money.
Well, sir, you have seen Mr. Charles in high glory. 'Tis great pity he's so extravagant.
True, but he would not sell my picture.
And he loves wine and women so much.
But he wouldn't sell my
And game so deep.
But he would not sell my picture.
So, Sir Oliver, I find you have made a purchase.
Yes, our young rake has parted with his ancestors, sold judges and generals by the foot, made it on as cheap as broken fiber.
And here has he commissioned me to redeliver you part of the purchase money. I mean, though, in your necessitous character of old Stanley.
Oh, I'll pay his debts and his benevolences too. I'll take care of old Stanley myself. But now, I am no more a broker, and you shall introduce me to the elder brother as Stanley.
There will now be an intermission of 5 minutes. at the home of Sir Joseph.
No letter from Lady Teazle?
No, sir.
I'm surprised she hasn't sent if she is prevented from coming. Sir Peter certainly does not suspect me, yet I wish I may not lose the heiress Maria through the scrape I have drawn myself in with Lady Teazle. However, Charles's imprudence and bad character are great points in my favour.
Sir, I believe that must be Lady Teazle.
Stay, draw that screen before the window. That will do. My opposite neighbour is a maiden lady of so curious a temper. I have a difficult hand to play in this affair. Lady Teazle lately suspected my designs on Maria, but she must by no means be let into that secret, at least till I have her more in my power.
I vow I couldn't come before.
Oh, madam, punctuality is a very unfashionable quality in a lady.
Upon my word, you ought to pity me. Sir Peter is grown so ill-tempered to me of late, and so jealous. Of Charles, too. That's the best of the story, isn't it?
I'm glad my scandalous friends keep that up.
I'm sure I wish he would let Maria marry him, and then perhaps you would be convinced. Don't you, Mr. Surface?
Indeed, I do not. Oh, certainly I do. For then my dear Lady Teazle would also be convinced how wrong her suspicions were of my having designs on the silly girl.
Well, I'm inclined to believe you. Besides, I really never could perceive why she should have so many admirers.
Oh, for her fortune, nothing else.
I believe so. For though she is certainly very pretty, yet she has no conversation in the world, and is so grave and reserved that I declare I think she'd have made an excellent wife for Sir Peter.
Oh, so she would.
Then one never hears her speak ill of anybody, which, you know, is mighty dull.
Nay, surely, she has fine eyes.
Why, so she has. Though sometimes one fancies there's a little sort of a squint.
A squint? Oh, fie, Lady Teazle.
But isn't it provoking to hear the most ill-natured things said of one? There's my friend, Lady Sneerwell, has circulated I don't know how many scandalous tales of me, and all without any foundation, too. That's what vexes me. And then Sir Peter, too? To have him so suspicious, indeed, 'tis monstrous.
Oh, my dear Lady Teazle, 'tis your own fault if you suffer it. When a husband entertains groundless suspicions of his wife, the original compact is broke, and she owes it to the honour of her sex to endeavour to outwit him.
Indeed. So that if he suspects me without cause, it follows that the best way of curing his jealousy is to give him reason for it.
Undoubtedly. Then by this hand, which he is unworthy of... Death, blockhead, what do you want?
I beg your pardon, sir, but I thought you wouldn't choose Sir Peter coming up without announcing him.
Sir Peter? Who's the devil?
Sir Peter! Oh, Lord, I'm ruined. I'm undone. What will become of me now? Oh, mercy, he's on the stairs. I'll get behind here, and if I'm ever so prudent again...
Joseph, give me that book. Oh, my dear Sir Peter, I beg your pardon. I have been dozing over a stupid book. Well, I am much obliged to you for this call. You hadn't been here, I believe, since I first fitted up the room.
'Tis very neat indeed. And you make even your screen a source of knowledge, hung, I perceive, with maps.
Oh, yes, I find great use in that screen.
I dare say you must, certainly. Won't you want to find anything out in a hurry?
I ought to hide anything in a hurry either.
Well, now we are alone. There is a subject, my dear friend, on which I wish to unburden my mind to you. A point of the greatest moment to my peace. In short, my good friend, Lady Teazle's conduct of late has made me very unhappy.
Indeed, I'm very sorry to hear it.
Yes, 'tis but too plain she has not the least regard for me. But what's worse, I have pretty good authority to suspect that she must have formed an attachment to another.
Indeed, you astonish me.
Yes, and between ourselves, I think I have discovered the person.
How you alarm me. You alarm me exceedingly.
What say you to Charles?
My brother? Impossible. I can never think he would meditate so gross an injury.
Ah, my good friend, the goodness of your own heart misleads you. You judge of others by yourself.
However, if this should be proved on him, he is no longer a brother of mine. I disclaim kindred with him, for the man who can break through the laws of hospitality and attempt the wife of his friend deserves to be branded as a pest of society.
What a difference there is between you. What noble sentiments.
But I cannot suspect Lady Teazle's honour.
I'm sure I wish to think well of her. She has lately reproached me more than once with having made no settlement on her. And in our last quarrel, she almost hinted that she should not break her heart if I was dead. So, if I were to die, she shall find that I have not been inattentive to her interest while living. She will enjoy 800 a year independent while I live, and the bulk of my fortune after my death.
This conduct, Sir Peter, is truly generous.
Yes, I am determined that she shall have no cause to complain, though I would not have her acquainted with the latter instance of my affection yet a while.
Nor I, if I could help it.
And now, my dear friend, if you please, we will talk over your situation of your hopes with Maria.
No, Sir Peter, another time, if you please. Well, sir?
Your brother knows you're within.
Death! Blockhead! I am not within.
Oh, stay, hold. A thought has struck me. You shall be at home.
Well, let him up.
Now, my good friend, oblige me to entreat you. Before Charles comes, let me conceal myself somewhere. Then do you tax him on the point we have been talking on, and his answers may satisfy me at once.
Oh, Sir Peter, would you have me join in so mean a trick?
Come, you shall not refuse me. Here, behind the screen will be what the devil? Oh, there seems to be one listener here already. I'll swear I saw a petticoat.
Well, this is ridiculous enough, I'll tell you, Sir Peter. Though I hold a man of intrigue to be a most despicable character, hark ye, 'tis a little French milliner, a silly rogue that plagues me, and having some character on your coming, she ran behind the screen.
A rogue? But egad, she has overheard all I've been saying of my wife.
Oh, she'll never go any farther, you can depend upon it. Yes.
No? Well, then in faith, let her hear it out. Here's a closet will do as well.
We'll go in there.
Sly rogue, sly rogue.
That's my life! What an escape!
Nice steal off.
Keep close, my angel.
Joseph, tax him home.
Back, my dear friend.
Could you lock Sir Peter in?
Be still, my life.
You're sure that the milliner won't blab?
My good Sir Peter. For gad, I wish I had a key to the door. Brother!
What has been the matter? Your fellow wouldn't let me up at first. What? Have you had a wench with you?
No, brother, I assure you.
What has made Sir Peter steal off? I thought he'd been with you.
He was, brother, but hearing you were coming, he didn't choose to stay. To be plain with you, brother, he thinks you're endeavouring to gain Lady Teazle's affections from him.
Who? I? Oh, Lord, no, not upon my word. So, the old fellow has found out that he's got a young wife, has he? Or, what's worse, she has discovered that she's got an old husband.
It is no subject to jest, brother. He who can laugh.
So true, as you were going to say. Then seriously, I never had the least idea of what you charged me with, upon my honour.
Well, it will give Sir Peter great satisfaction to hear this.
To be sure, I once thought the lady seemed to have taken a fancy, but upon my soul, I never gave her the least encouragement. Besides, you know of my attachment to Maria. And brother, you surprised me exceedingly by naming me with Lady Teazle. For faith, I always understood you were her favourite.
For shame, Charles.
Well, I have seen you exchange such significant glances.
Nay, sir, this is no jest.
Serious, don't you remember? One day when I called here...
Nay, prithee, Charles.
You two together.
Do, sir, I insist.
The servant came and he informed me
brother,
that you two...
Brother, a word with you. Gad, I must stop him. Hush, I beg your pardon. But Sir Peter has overheard all we've been saying. I knew you would clear yourself, or I shouldn't have consented.
How? Sir Peter? Where is he?
Softly, there.
Oh, for heaven, I'll have him out. Sir Peter, come forth.
No!
I say, Sir Peter, come into court. What? My old guardian.
Give me your hand, Charles. I believe I've suspected you wrongfully. But you mustn't be angry with Joseph. 'Twas my plan.
Indeed.
But I acquit you. I promise you I don't think near so ill of you as I did. What I have heard has given me great satisfaction.
Egad, then 'twas lucky you didn't hear any more, wasn't it, Joseph?
Lady Sneerwell is below her.
And in future, perhaps, we may not be such strangers.
Lady Sneerwell! Oh, no, gentlemen, I beg pardon. I must wait on you downstairs. Here is a person come on particular business.
You can see him in another room. Sir Peter and I haven't met a long time, and I have something to say to him.
They must not be left together. I'll send Lady Sneerwell away and return directly.
Ah, Charles, if you associated more with your brother, one might indeed hope for your reformation. He is a man of sentiment. There is nothing in the world so noble as a man of sentiment.
Pshaw, he is too moral by half.
No, you wrong him. He had a girl with him when I called.
What? Joseph, you jest.
Hush. A little French milliner. And the best of the jest is, she's in the room now.
Behind the screen? Odds life, let's unveil her.
No, he's coming.
Oh, egad, we'll have a little peep at the little milliner.
Not for the world. Joseph will never forgive me.
I'll stand by you.
Odds life, here he is.
Lady Teasel! By all that's wonderful.
Lady Teasel, by all that's horrible.
Sir Peter, this is one of the smartest French milliners I ever saw. Egad, you all seem to have been diverting yourselves here at hide and seek. Well, though I can make nothing of the affair, I make no doubt, but you perfectly understand one another. So I'll leave you to yourselves. Brother, I'm sorry to find you've given this worthy man grounds for so much uneasiness. Sir Peter, there's nothing in the world so noble as a man of sentiment.
Sir Peter, notwithstanding, I confess that appearances are against me. If you will afford me your patience, I make no doubt, but I shall explain everything to your satisfaction.
If you please, sir.
The fact is, sir, that Lady Teasel, knowing my pretensions to your ward, Maria, I say, sir, Lady Teasel, being apprehensive of the jealousy of your temper, and knowing my friendship for the family, she, I say, sir, called here in order that I might explain those pretensions, but on your coming, being, as I said, apprehensive of your jealousy, she withdrew, and this, you may depend on it, is the whole truth of the matter.
A very clear account, upon my word, and I dare swear the lady will vouch for every article of it.
Not one word of it, Sir Peter.
How? Don't you think it worthwhile to agree in the lie?
There is not one syllable of truth in what that gentleman has told you.
I believe you upon my soul, ma'am.
Death, madam, you will betray me.
Good Mr. Hypocrite, by your leave, I will speak for myself. Hear me, Sir Peter. I came hither on no matter relating to your ward, and even ignorant of this gentleman's pretensions to her, but I came seduced by his insidious arguments and pretended passion.
The woman's mad.
No, sir, she has recovered her senses. Sir Peter, I do not expect you to credit me, but the tenderness you expressed for me has penetrated so to my heart that had I left the place without the shame of this discovery, my future should have spoken the sincerity of my gratitude. But as for that smooth-tongued hypocrite who would have seduced the wife of his friend while he pretended honorable addresses to his ward, I behold him now in a light so truly despicable that I shall never again respect myself for having listened to him.
Notwithstanding all this, Sir Peter, heaven knows
that you are a villain, and so I leave you to your conscience.
You are too rash, Sir Peter. You shall hear me. The man who shuts out conviction by refusing to...
There is a Mr. Stanley below, sir. He says
Mr. Stanley, blockhead! To suppose that I should now be in temper to receive visits from poor relations.
Sir, I shouldn't have let him in, but that Mr. Rowley came in the door with him.
Pshaw! Well, why don't you show the fellow up?
I will, sir. Sir, why, sir? It was not my fault that Sir Peter discovered my lady in the...
Fool!
Why?
Fortune never played a man of my policy such a trick before. My character with Sir Peter, my hopes with Maria, destroyed in a moment. I'm in a rare humour to listen to other people's distresses. He comes, and Rowley with him. I must try to recover myself and put a little charity into my face, however.
What? Does he avoid us? Yet this is he whom Sir Peter extols as a man of the most benevolent way of thinking.
He's coming back. I'll go.
So I see from his features he is already determined to deny me.
Sir, I beg you 10,000 pardons for keeping you a moment waiting. Mr. Stanley, I presume?
Your service, too civil by half.
He that is in distress, though a stranger, has a right to claim kindred with the wealthy. I am sure I wish I was of that class and had it in my power to offer you even a small relief.
If your Uncle Sir Oliver were here, I should have a friend.
Oh, dear sir, you're strangely misinformed. Sir Oliver is a worthy man, a very worthy man, but avarice, Mr. Stanley, is the vice of age. I will tell you, sir, in good confidence, that what he has done for me has been a mere nothing, though people I know have thought otherwise, and for my part, I never chose to contradict the report.
Oh, what, he never sent you anything from India?
No, a few presents now and again, shawls, trinkets, Indian crackers, nothing more. Then, my dear sir, you have heard, I doubt not, of the extravagance of my brother. Sir, there are very few would credit what I have done for that unfortunate young man.
Not I, for one.
The sums I have lent him. Oh. And now I feel it doubly culpable, since it has deprived me of the power of serving you, Mr. Stanley, as my heart directs.
Dissembler! Then, sir, you cannot assist me.
At present, it grieves me to say I cannot. But whenever I have the ability, you may depend upon hearing from me. You may depend upon hearing from me whenever I can be of service.
Kind sir, your most obedient, humble servant.
You leave me deeply affected, Mr. Stanley. William, be ready to open the door.
Yes, sir, no ceremony.
You're very obedient.
You're most obsequious. As we say, you are too good.
In the meantime, I wish you health and spirits.
Your ever grateful and perpetually humble servant.
Sir, your servant.
Charles, you are my heir.
This is one bad effect of a good character. It invites applications from the unfortunate.
Mr. Service, your servant. I was apprehensive of interrupting you, but I bear a letter.
I was happy to see Mr. Rowley. How? My uncle arrived?
He is indeed. We have just parted, quite well after a speedy voyage, and impatient to embrace his worthy nephew.
I am astonished. William, stop Mr. Stanley if he's not gone.
No, he's out of reach, I believe. But your uncle will be with you in a quarter of an hour.
So he says. Well, I am strangely overjoyed at his coming. Never, to be sure, was anything so damned unlucky.
Sir Benjamin, you have heard, I suppose.
Lady Teazle and Mr. Surface.
And Sir Peter's discovery.
Strangest piece of business, to be sure.
Well, I never was so surprised in my life. I am so sorry for all parties indeed.
No, I don't pity Sir Peter at all. He was so extravagant, partial to Joseph.
Joseph? Why, 'twas with Charles Lady Teazle was detected.
No such thing. I tell you, I have it from one.
And I have it from one.
Who had it from one who had it?
From one immediately. But here comes Lady Sneerwell. Perhaps she knows the whole affair.
So, my dear Mrs. Candour, here is the sad affair of our friend Teazle.
Oh, my dear friend, who could have thought it?
Well, there is no trusting appearances, though. Indeed, she was always too lively for me.
To be sure, her manners were a little too free, but she was very young.
Indeed.
Well, I hope that Sir Peter's wound will not...
Sir Peter's wound? Oh, mercy, I didn't hear a word of their fighting.
Oh, only a syllable.
What? No mention of the duel?
Not a word.
Oh, Lord, yes. Yes, they fought before they left the room.
Pray let us hear.
With pistols. I have it from undoubted authority.
Oh, Mr. Crabtree, then it's all true.
True indeed, ma'am. And Sir Peter dangerously wounded.
By a thrust through his left side.
By a bullet lodged in the thorax.
Oh, poor Sir Peter.
Ma'am, though Charles would have avoided the matter if he could.
I knew Charles was the person.
My uncle, I see, knows nothing of the matter.
Do, nephew, let me speak. And insisted on immediate...
Just as I said.
Odds life, nephew, allow others to know something too. A pair of pistols lay on the bureau. Sir Peter forced Charles to take one and they fired. It seems pretty nearly together.
I am more interested in this affair than they imagine, and I must have better information.
Hey, who comes here?
Oh, this is he, the physician. Depend on it.
Oh, certainly it must be the physician, and now we shall know.
Well, doctor, what hopes?
Aye, doctor, how's your patient?
Doctor, are you mad, good people?
Only a friend of Sir Peter's then, I presume. But, sir, you must have heard of this accident.
Not a word.
Run through the body!
Not in the breast.
Well, then, upon my word, for a person in that situation, he is the most imprudent man alive. For here he comes, walking as if nothing was the matter. Oh, why, man, why do you, out of bed, with a small sword through your body and a bullet lodged in your thorax?
We rejoice, Sir Peter, that the story of the duel is not true, and are sincerely sorry for your other misfortune.
So, all over town already.
Though, Sir Peter, you are certainly vastly to blame to marry at all your years.
I insist on being left to myself, without ceremony. I insist on your leaving my house directly.
Well, we are going, and depend on it, we'll make the best report of you we can.
Leave my house.
And tell how hardly you have been treated.
Leave my house.
And how patiently you bear it.
Friends, vipers, furies.
I heard high words. What has ruffled you, Sir Peter?
Sure, what signifies asking? Do I ever pass a day without my vexations?
Well, I'm not inquisitive. I come only to tell you that I have seen both my nephews in the manner we proposed.
Yes, and Sir Oliver is convinced that your judgment was right, Sir Peter.
Oh, yes, I find Joseph is the man, after all.
Aye, and as Sir Peter says, he's a man of sentiment.
And acts up to the sentiments he professes. But how's this, Sir Peter? You don't join us in your friend Joseph's praise, as I...
Sure, plague on you both. I see by your sneering you have heard the whole affair.
Every circumstance.
What, with the closet and the screen?
Oh, yes, and the little French milliner.
It's very pleasant.
To be sure, Joseph with his sentiments.
A hypocritical villain.
Aye, and that rogue Charles to pull Sir Peter out of the closet. Oh, my gad, Sir Peter, I should like to have seen your face when the screen was thrown down.
Yes, my face when the screen was thrown down. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, I must never show my head again.
Come, it isn't fair to laugh at you, old friend, even though upon my soul, I can't help it.
Oh, pray don't restrain your mirth on my account. It does not hurt me at all. I laughed at the whole affair myself. Ha, 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 ha. Yes. I think being a standing jest for all one's acquaintance is a very happy situation.
Sir Peter, I see Lady Teazle is going towards the next room. I am sure you must desire a reconciliation as earnestly as she does.
Well, I'll leave honest Rowley to mediate between you two, but he must bring you all presently to Mr. Surface's, where I am now returning, if not to reclaim a libertine, at least to expose hypocrisy.
I'll be present at your discovering yourself there with all my heart, though 'tis a vile unlucky place for discoveries.
We'll follow. And will you refrain from comforting her?
She's in tears. She looks this way. What a remarkably elegant turn of the head she has. Rowley, I'll go to her.
Certainly.
Though when it is known that we are reconciled, people will laugh at me 10 times more.
Let them laugh, and retort their malice by showing them you are a happy man in spite of it. He who once lays aside suspicion...
Hold, Master Rowley. If you have any regard for me, never let me hear you utter anything like a sentiment. I have had enough of them to serve me the rest of my life.
Impossible. Sir Peter immediately to be reconciled with Charles, and no longer opposing his union with Maria. Oh, I was a fool, an idiot, to league with such a blunderer as you.
Surely, Lady Sneerwell, I am the greatest sufferer, yet you see I bear the accident with calmness.
Because the disappointment hasn't reached your heart. Your monetary interest only attached you to Maria. Had you felt for her what I have for that ungrateful libertine Charles, neither your temper nor hypocrisy could prevent your showing the sharpness of your vexation.
But I don't think we're so totally defeated neither.
No.
You tell me you have made a trial of Snake since we met, and that you still believe him faithful to us.
I do believe so.
And that he will swear that Charles is at this time engaged to your ladyship?
He will.
Come, it is not too late. But hark, this is probably my uncle, Sir Oliver. Retire to that room. We'll consult further when he's gone.
I have no doubt of your abilities. Only be constant to one roguery at a time.
I will. Well, by all events, my character is better than Charles's. What? Oh, this is old Stanley again. Cad's life, Mr. Stanley, why have you come back to plague me at this time? You must not stay, upon my word.
Well, I hear your Uncle Oliver is expected here, and though he has been so penurious to you, I'll try what he'll do for me.
Sir, it is impossible for you to stay now, so I must beg, come any other time, and I promise you assistance.
No, Sir Oliver and I must be acquainted.
Sir, I insist on it. Here, William, show this gentleman out. Oh, since you compel me, sir, not one moment. Oh, this is such insolence.
Hey, Day, what's the matter now? Soon's brother. Don't hurt little Premium.
No, he's been with you too, has he?
To be sure he has. But sure, Joseph, you haven't been borrowing money too, have you?
Borrowing? No. But brother, you know we expect Sir Oliver any moment.
Oh, Gad, that's true. Uncle mustn't find a little broker here, to be sure.
Yes, Mr. Stanley insists.
Stanley? Why, his name is Premium.
No, Stanley.
No, it's Premium.
Well, no matter which. But death. Here's Sir Oliver at the door. Now, I beg, Mr. Stanley.
Aye, and I beg, Mr. Premium.
Gentlemen.
By heaven, you shall go.
Aye, out with him, certainly.
Oh, my old friend, Sir Oliver. Hey, what in the name of wonder? Oh, here are dutiful nephews sought their uncle at his first visit.
Indeed, Sir Oliver, 'twas well we came in to rescue you.
Charles!
Joseph!
Peter, my friend and Rowley too, look on that elder nephew of mine and judge my disappointment in discovering him to be destitute of truth, charity, and gratitude.
Sir Oliver, I should be more surprised at this declaration if I had not myself found him to be selfish, treacherous, and hypocritical.
And if the gentleman pleads not guilty to these, pray let him call me to his character.
Then I believe we need add no more. If he knows himself, he will consider it as the most perfect punishment that he is known to the world.
Aye, if they talk this way to honesty, what will they say to me by and by?
As for that prodigal, his brother there.
Aye, now here comes my turn. Those damned family pictures will ruin me.
Sir Oliver, uncle, will you honour me with a hearing?
I wish now Joseph would make one of his long speeches so that I might collect myself a little.
Well, sir, and could you justify yourself too, I suppose?
Not that I know of, Sir Oliver.
Sir Peter, do you know the rogue bargained with me for all his ancestors, so be judges and generals by the foot, and maiden aunts as cheap as broken china?
To be sure, Sir Oliver, I did make a little free with the family canvas. That's the truth of it. But believe me sincere when I tell you that if I do not appear mortified at the exposure of my follies, it is because I feel at this moment the warmest satisfaction in seeing you, my liberal benefactor.
Charles, I believe you. Give me your hand again. The ill-looking little fellow over the couch has made your peace.
Then, sir, my gratitude to the original is still increased.
Yes, I believe, Sir Oliver, here is one whom Charles is still more anxious to be reconciled to.
Oh, I have heard of his attachment there.
Well, child, speak your sentiments.
Sir, I have little to say, but that I shall rejoice to hear that he is happy. For me, whatever claim I had to his affection, I will willingly resign to one who has a better title.
How, Mariah?
Hey, Day, what's the mystery now? While he appeared an incorrigible rake, you would give your hand to no one else. And now that he's likely to reform, you won't have him.
His own heart and Lady Sneerwell know the cause.
Lady Sneerwell?
Brother, it is with great concern I am obliged to speak on this point, but my regard to justice obliges me, and Lady Sneerwell's injuries can no longer be concealed.
Oh, another French milliner. Egad, he has one in every room, I suppose.
Ungrateful Charles, well may you be surprised and feel for the indelicate situation which your perfidy has forced me into.
Pray, uncle, is this another plot of yours? For as I have life, I don't understand it.
I believe, sir, there is but the evidence of one person more necessary to make it extremely clear.
And that person, I imagine, is Mr. Snake. Rowley, you are perfectly right to bring him in with us. And pray, let him appear.
Walk in, Mr. Snake. I thought his testimony might be needed. However, it happens that he has come to confront Lady Sneerwell and not to support her.
A villain! Treacherous to me at last. Speak, fellow. Have you too conspired against me?
I beg your ladyship 10,000 pardons. You paid me liberally for the lie in question, but I unfortunately have been offered double to speak the truth.
The torments of shame and disappointment on you all.
Hold, Lady Sneerwell, before you go. As for the scandalous college of which you are president, I beg leave to return the diploma you granted me, as I kill reputations no longer.
Provoking, insolent. May your husband live these 50 years.
Wounds! What a fury!
Well, Sheridan, what have you to say now?
Sir, I am so confounded to find that Lady Sneerwell will be guilty of suborning Mr. Snake in this manner to impose on us. I know not what to say. However, lest her revengeful spirit should prompt her to injure my brother, I had certainly better follow her directly.
Moral to the last drop.
Aye, and marry her, Joseph, if you can. Oil and vinegar, egad, they'll do very well together.
I believe we have no more occasion for Mr. Snake at present.
Before I go, I beg pardon once for all for whatever uneasiness I have been the humble instrument of causing to the parties present.
Well, well, you have made atonement by a good deed at last.
But I must request of the company that it shall never be known.
Hey, what the plague? Are you ashamed of having done a right thing once in your life?
Ah, sir, consider that I live by the badness of my character. I have nothing but my infamy to depend on, and if it were once known that I had been betrayed into an honest action, I should lose every friend I have in the world.
Well, we'll not traduce you by saying anything to your praise. Never fear.
See, Sir Oliver, there needs no persuasion now to reconcile your nephew and Mariah.
Aye, that's as it should be. And egad, we'll have the wedding tomorrow morning.
Thank you, dear uncle.
What, you rogue? Don't you ask the girl's consent first?
Oh, I have done that a long time ago, above a minute ago, and she has looked yes.
For shame, Charles. I protest, Sir Peter, there has not been a word.
Then the fewer the better. May your love for each other never know abatement.
And may you live as happily together as Lady Teasle and I intend to do.
Well, Fanshawe, what do you think?
It should work, so long as they learn their lines.
For him, that's a thumbs up. No plot questions?
No.
Good.
Except, who was he talking to?
In the School for Scandal by Richard Brinsley Sheridan. The part of Lady Sneerwell was played by Kelly Newman O'Connor. Snake by Kit Newman. Mrs. Candor by Meg LeBeau. Sir Benjamin Backbite by Grace Sperber White. Crabtree by Mark Jefferson. Charles Surface by Langston Cotman. Joseph Surface by Sam Felsenthal. Sir Peter Teasel by Richie Porter. Lady Teasel by Liz Porter. Sir Oliver Surface by Brad Sperber. Rowley by Robert Weiser. Mariah by Dre Weeks. Lappet by Celeste Weiser. And William by Maddie Sperber White. In the framing scenes, Sheridan was played by Ian Four, and Fanshawe by Maddie Sperber White. Thank you for joining us this evening for another classic comedy. As always, if you enjoy the performance, please consider making a donation to Lumina Studio Theater. Just go to our website at luminastudio.org. And as a very special end to our season, please do join us for A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, adapted by John O'Connor on Sunday, December 20th at 7 p.m. Thank you and good night.